we learned this past week from an interview with Michael Bay that we are getting I want to say it was an interview with both of them that Bruckheimer probably mentioned this. But long story short, it's getting the reboot treatment here. And the big question is, I think on a lot of people's minds, whether Depp will be returning. I've always had a question as to whether Disney would bring him back into the mix after the high profile kerfluffle. You know, what do you think about this? Is it a smart move that they're going the reboot route? Given all the time that's passed since the last film, the length of the series so far, the age of the actors, and the Johnny Depp of it all?
I don't know. This is one of these
Pick
ones
one.
that's so. It feels like it feels like exactly what it is. It's a studio that has a property that in the past has printed them money. They want to print more money, and they have no idea how to do that at the moment, for all the reasons you just listed. Of even if Johnny Depp wasn't this hot button polarizing topic, take that off the table, he's still 60. And when a bit plays well just because you're 40, when you do something when you're 40, it doesn't play the same when you're 60. And so you just kind of go, does this still work? And so, but beyond that, how much lore do you want to tie back to? Do you want that baggage? Do you just want a fresh reboot? And so then you just have years of it feels like every 2 months there's a new pitch on the table. And like Margot Robbie's doing an all-female Pirates of the Caribbean. And it's actually going to be, it's not a reboot, but it's in the same canon. And Johnny Depp's only going to show up for 10 minutes. Actually, it's this. And then Craig Mazin's writing one. We wrote this one. It's so crazy and weird. And they actually told us, yes, and they liked it. Jerry Bruckheimer's like, we're rebooting the entire thing. And then we got the chef from The Bear. She's actually the lead. And you're like, what is this? And I imagine that's what's going on behind the scenes, is that they're just having pitch after pitch after pitch, trying to find what's the right way to bring it back. And yeah, there's a lot of people that are like, there's no Pirates of the Caribbean without Johnny Depp. I think that really undersells how good that first film really was. It was a good film, elevated by the fact that you had a fantastic character and performance. Johnny Depp was a movie star for 20 years before Pirates of the Caribbean, and it propelled him to this whole other level of crazy fame because he was so good. But independent from that, it's just a good swashbuckling adventure that's funny. It's exciting. It has a bit of a hero's journey in there, and that it's just spooky enough that it has a little bit of horror stuff in it, but not so much that it alienates people that don't like horror. My wife doesn't do horror at all, but she loves that first Pirates of the Caribbean movie. It was just so well-rounded, and then you put Johnny Depp in it, and it's a special thing. But there's no shortage of bad Pirates of the Caribbean movies starring Johnny Depp. Yeah. And so I don't think he's the secret sauce, but I think it's just really tough to figure out what that is. And back to the stuff we talked about before of finding talent in smaller things. You go back when the guy that they picked to do that movie, he'd done The Ring. He did this one creative horror movie that was like a breakout hit. And then they went, all right, here you go. Here's 150, 100 million, whatever the budget was back then. And he did something special. And it doesn't feel like they were crazy, like they let him make it. Whereas it feels like back to our previous topic, I meant to say this in there, but part of the problem when you're making a $250 million bet that has to make $1 billion, everyone has ideas on what it takes to make $1 billion. And so there's too many cooks in the kitchen. And that's what kills a lot of those movies, is that it's everyone's trying to micromanage. And so it just cancels each other out. And you just get these vanilla blockbusters where you watch that first Pirates and it has such a personality to it. It's so good. It's so distinct. And it feels like all these ideas, that overproducing, overwriter, overdeveloping, that I think is what's going to kill this thing.
It all goes back to trusting the creator that you hire to deliver the product that you hired them for, in my opinion.
Which
and that's
Disney
what's always
is not doing.
Disney is not doing. I want to, explain my Michael Bay slip up, but two, give you the reason why I had that slip up. It's because the rumored writers for this film were first rumored back in October of 2023. And at the time, they were working, or they had just written, the Six Underground film for Netflix that was from Michael Bay. This is Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick. Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick are best known for the trilogy of Deadpool films, as well as other things like Zombieland Double Tap, and the Twisted Metal series. So it's, it remains to be seen whether they'll be connected to this in any way. They were rumored back in October of 2023, when it was also rumored that Disney was exploring a reboot. So for me, while this news is breaking now based off of Jerry Bruckheimer's comments, it does sound like this has probably been in the works for quite a bit now. Yeah. And it's just been a lot of the internet personalities, such as ourselves, that have been keeping the different options alive. I'm interested to see where they go. I think there's a way that they can bring this back to basics, in a way similar to, going back to the Godzilla conversation, that Godzilla -1 took the concept and brought it back to basics. I would love to see that with Pirates, where we're not just building, all this foundation for a long running franchise that we already know we're going to get, but to deliver something, or develop something rather, that we can then tell stories within that world. Maybe Star Wars, but done better, where it's not just the the same family in 9 films that we're talking about. But let's broaden our horizons a bit, because yes, the island of Tortuga and the ships that we're all familiar with and Jack Sparrow are all really captivating and wonderful, but the property can be more than that. And if you really want to make that money that they're all after, that's where you have to start. You can't just go at it one film at a time and hope to make $1 billion. Build something, get in it for the long run here.
And I think I actually really like what you just said there. I mean, I think that's where people, like, when they're, some people just so locked in on Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp and Jack Sparrow only work because the world is exciting and the world is worth exploring. Yep. And there's a lot of stories you can tell in that. There's a lot of directions you can go with that. And like you said, you don't have to build it entirely on the shoulders of anyone. It's Pirates. Absolutely. It's right there in the title. There's all these different things you can do with that and explore with it. And in a world like where, there's too many cinematic universes, or there's things that don't lend themselves to cinematic universes, they're trying to turn into cinematic universes. This is one where it's like right there. It's really obvious. Like it's not complicated to imagine a really good TV show. It's a little tough because water's expensive, but you find like the right island, lively characters, supernatural elements, a little bit of ghouls, a lot of sword play, a lot of fun banter. It's really easy to imagine this. And then it ties into a movie that, but it's not, it doesn't demand that you watch it, but it enhances things. It's really easy to imagine this.
Absolutely.
But just you overthink it. It's like, it's got to make $1 billion. Just trust the creator and have fun.